In this tutorial I'm going to explain how to make a flying figure that's based on a pair of V-folds. There are two different kinds of V-folds. So this is coming from this book called Sandalino by Susumu Shingu. It's a beautiful little book, really lovely colours, quite simple, just following the exploits of this one clown-like figure. This is a very clever mechanism. It looks relatively simple, but it's quite sophisticated, using an asymmetric V-fold to lift the whole thing up. And then you have something like this crawling one is really quite basic. This one, well, working nicely this time. Here's a swimming one, and then the very last one in the book. This one is the one I'm going to explain. It's a really nice action. The more you flex the book, the more the figure takes off. It's based on these two V-folds. This is a really regular right angle V-fold. The angles at the bottom are right angles. And then this is quite unusual. This is a obtuse angle V-fold. And the clever way they're combined means that the tops stay at the same distance apart, so you can stick a piece onto them. And it all works nicely. So here's my initial experiments, and you can see this is the right angle V-fold, which is tutorial 2, and this is the obtuse angle V-fold, which is tutorial 3, and then this is a parallel fold stuck onto the top. And you can see as the whole thing opens, this parallel fold, it turns into an angle, so you can then stick something onto that will give a lifting figure. And so to make that, these are the pieces. So this is the piece for the right angle V-fold. At the bottom, these two angles are both 90 degrees. And then at the top, these come off at an angle of 60 degrees on each side. The whole height of it is 7. It starts at 3.5 on each side, 3.5 centimetres. And at the top, it's 2 centimetres. The obtuse angle V-fold, the outer edges and the middle crease, they're all parallel. 8.5 centimetres up, you measure in 2 and then cut out this V. So this is 100 degrees. Up at the top, this is 100 degrees. This is 8.5 centimetres. This is 5 centimetres. And at the very bottom, below those creases, these are the two tabs that you'll use to glue it to the page. And the third piece is this piece. This is what the parallel fold is made of. And it's 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 2 centimetres. This is the base that it all sticks onto. They're all stuck down at 60 degrees to the spine. And between the obtuse angle V-fold and the bottom of the page, that's 5 centimetres. And between the two V-folds, it's 3.5 centimetres. Maybe I should hold it that way around so you can see it. So this would be like this. Start with the right angle V-fold. Crease all the creases really thoroughly, as usual. Fold them back on themselves. And the central one. And the bits at the top. And I think that's probably it. And now I'll just stick it down. So because I've marked where they stick down, you don't need to stick one side down first. You can stick them both down simultaneously. I'll just put some glue on these two. As always, you smear it right up to the crease. The edges of the card are not so important, but the crease is the key with all pop-ups. And then I'll put that on there. Looks good. And whenever you add a piece to a pop-up, always close it and press it to make sure that it's all working nicely. And this second piece, I'll just crease that as well. And the bottom ones, they're good. And then I'll stick that to these other two lines. Doesn't matter which way creases go, which way the flaps go, as long as the creases are stuck in the right place on the line. Stick that one down. You can see the way this V-fold is working, because it's an obtuse angle V, it's leaning back into the gully, whereas this other one is actually leaning slightly the other way. And so now these join on, and you stick these little tabs, they stick to the outside parts of these uprights. I don't think it really matters whether it's inside or outside. The important thing is just make sure it's really flush, and I'll do the other one as well. And now the crucial test, does it all shut down nicely? Well, it's actually moved slightly, so that's probably my slightly dodgy measuring. I think it should be okay. So there you can see we've got a gully. There is something slightly off in my measuring, but I think perhaps quite a forgiving art really. So I'll just carry on and stick these bits on there, and then we can stick the figure on top afterwards. So again, I'm going to put the glue onto these. You always put the glue onto the smallest surface rather than the biggest one, and so these end bits are slightly bigger than the bits at the top of the V-fold, so I'll put the glue on them and then stick it on like that. Let's hope it all works. And again, shut it to make sure it's going to do what it's supposed to do. I think this one I made before is a slightly better example, and then I don't quite like the way this is sticking out behind. I want it sticking forward rather than back. So let me move it a bit like that. Now let's try again. Something not quite comfortable there. Yeah, that looks better now. You've got this ridge fold going up at an angle when the page is opened. So I've made a figure. I haven't made it exactly like the little Sandalino character. So here it is. It's got a central crease and then the limbs. And this is going to stick onto the ridge fold like that. I've made a separate head because that stands up. The way this head is made, the neck has been split so that one fold can go that way and the other can go the other way. So I could actually put that on before I stick the whole thing into position. So I'm going to put glue on one of these small strips on one side and glue on the other small strip on the other side. Put it into this slot. So the whole thing goes through the slot. One flap goes one way and the other goes the other way. That should make the head stand up at an angle to the main body. So now I'll just glue that in place onto this ridge fold. I'll just make sure it's not going to stick out. No, that looks okay. The smallest surface is these two. So I'll put glue on those two. There we go, stick him on like that. Let's just check. Yeah, nice, it all fits in. So here it is, the flying figure based on two different types of V-folds. It all fits nicely in the page. Quite a nice variation. Thank you very much.